Hello, patrons! Time for another paint along, paint with me video. I decided to do some pretty spring lilies this time because 'tis the season and Easter is coming and I like flowers. Yeah, so I found this image on Pixabay, which is a royalty-free website, and I love to use it just because then you don't have to worry about stealing anything if you copy it. Otherwise, I like to use my own pictures better. But anyway, I didn't have any lily pictures, so I found these, and they look pretty simple, but pretty at the same time. So, with flowers like this, they kind of have this tubular type shape, and it kind of helps me to think of it as like ovals. I don't know how to describe it except start to draw it. So at the base of the flower, it's tiny, but then where the flower opens, it's bigger, and it's basically an oval shape. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah. And if I draw these two, it kind of helps me. It's like a guide of this little cone shape. And then you can see this just shows the opening. It's especially helpful whenever you have to draw the petals in weird directions other than like straight towards you, because I don't know, it's just this perspective thing. It just helps your brain understand. Of course, here I am trying to get this leaf perfect, but seriously, I don't want to do that because it's just not, it's not the point, you know? This petal is kind of cool because you can see at the very end of it, it kind of flips under. This one is more straight on. It looks kind of fatter. As I do these leaves, I'm kind of erasing in the circle because I don't really need it anymore. Okay, I'm just kind of drawing what I'm seeing. I'm not really saying a lot, but I don't really know how to describe it except slowly go around and draw what you see. This one is kind of funky here because it's pretty much facing towards you. And it always plays with my mind a little bit. I'm like, how do you draw that? Well, you just have to really focus in on this shape. Don't think about what it is. This petal right here it's like a triangle, but the end is folded back. I'm just looking over it again to see if I am happy with the way it looks. For some reason I'm not happy with it, and I'm not sure why. Maybe these are too big. It might just look funny because I don't have the rest of it drawn. Okay, and then inside we've got these little doodads coming out. Oops, broke my pencil. Okay. I'm not drawing every single one of those because it's kind of complex in the middle right there. Because there's another petal coming out from it. So I don't want to do, not coming out from it, the other flower is crossing over it. So we will worry about that in a second. Now, I'm going to draw another set of ovals to help me. This one is a little more straight onto you, so the ovals are going to be closer together. You don't even have to do that if you don't want. I mean, this is just kind of helps my brain see it. So this one goes under that other petal. Okay, I'm going to work with this one that kind of overlaps the other. Okay. These are tricky because somehow you have to do the illusion of depth, like where the middle of the flower goes. I don't know, it's tricky. Now I'm drawing these little doodads in here. I can't remember what they're called. Do you remember? Okay, so now I'm going to go on to the stems here. They're not really in focus that much, so I'm just going to lightly put them in, and I'm going to put a couple of the buds as well. Let's see. There's a nice pink bud right here. Can't tell if this bud stem is coming from like down here or behind. I don't know. I'm just gonna guess. And actually, it's a pretty pink one, but I don't like the way it's sitting right there. I think I'm gonna change it and just put it facing up like this because that's weird. It's my picture. I'm gonna do what I want. So if you're wondering what's going on over here, I put a piece of wax paper down on top of this because I did not want to mess up this page, and I tend to splatter everywhere. Okay, so now that we have the sketch down, let's do some watercolor. I'm just going to go through and erase under any unnecessary lines. Okay. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is do the yellow parts. So there's going to be yellow coming out right here, and then some down at the stem. And I want to make it real, like the gradient, real smooth. So I like to do that. You'll see me repeating myself here from other videos, but I like to wet it down a little bit first so that whenever I put the yellow on, it'll spread more seamlessly. Oops. I should mention you should try not to get it where the little doodads stick out, because those are going to be white at the bottom. And that's a little tricky. If you accidentally get paint on it, no biggie. We will just use something like white paint or a white highlight to fix that later. Okay, so it's kind of like an orangey yellow. Mixing orange and a yellow together. And just gonna lightly add some here. Now I'm gonna wash out my brush and dab it a little bit, and then I'm just gonna kind of lead the paint around. Now let's do the same thing at the bottom of this, at the bottom of the flower. I'm just gonna wet that down a little bit. And start at the bottom. Okay, let's erase this line a little bit. Okay. And then back at the stem. Somehow, I must have touched this and somehow it got out of the line. Weird. Okay. Now I need to let this dry a little bit, so I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. No, I'm not, because it is unplugged. Alright. Okay, let's work with the petals. So I'm going to do these in a couple stages. Like most of the petals are really light white, I guess in the middle. But then towards the ends, it's actually a very pale pink, and then we're going to have the darker pink lines inside. So first we'll do the light pink, and then we'll let that dry a little bit because you don't want them to run together too much. Now, pink is a weird color that you may not have it. And sometimes, like if you wanted to take this red and make a pink from it, it might not be the same pink. So I like to just mix a few different, like pink and purple, see what kind of a light pink you can get. It doesn't have to match perfectly, because that's not what we're about. We are about just making something pretty and learning in the process. Okay, so now that I've made a light color, I'm going to wash out my brush again so it's got clear water on it. And I like to wet down the paper and just get a tiny, tiny bit. See, this is so light, but that is what we want right now. We're just gonna give the petals a very light wash of color. Like, and towards the end of each petal, it kind of is a little bit darker than the middle. So you can go ahead and try to capture that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it in the other flower as well. Now that these other ones have dried a little bit, I'm just kind of going to go back in and add some more color where I think it needs it. Okay, so while that's drying, let's do some of the buds. Now, the buds have more of a greenish yellow, and then a little tiny bit of pink in there. So I'm going to take the yellow I had before. I'm going to put that down first. This bud right here that is from the pink bud, there's a little bit of yellow in it, so I'm going to just go ahead and put a tiny bit. Let's see, so now I'm going to find some, it's like a light green, and blend some of that in there. And because I want it to be blended very nicely, I'm going to add some of that pink now so it kind of just softly blends together. Since the paint is still wet, you don't even have to, like, your brush doesn't have to blend it around. You can just touch it and it does its thing, which I think is so, like, the best part of watercolors. I just love to let it go whoosh and create its own beauty. Now I'm going to work with these stems. So in the picture, they're like a green, but it's like a real dark green, almost has brown in it. Not real specific, but I'm going to just kind of mix around a few colors, like some green and a little bit of brown. This is something I had mixed up here before. And I'm just going to paint that in. I almost forgot about this pink bud. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna carefully add some color to these little stem guys here. They're yellow inside, just like the flower, and then white in the middle, and then there's pink on the ends right before the little pollen thing. So let's do that carefully. I'm gonna let all this stuff dry pretty well right now. Did you see what I just did? This is why I can't have anything nice. I just went psh, like this and smeared this. My vey. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and add a little more detail to these petals because they all have these streaks in them. And I want them to be soft. So I'm going to go in once again and take a little bit of water. You don't want to do too much. Lay the water down. Get some more of the pink. A little bit darker this time. And just lightly streak it. See, and I probably have too much water on this right now because it's really spreading. But I'm going to go with it. Nice. So I'm going to do the same with the other petals. Put a little bit of water down. Get some of the color. Do some streaks. And I suppose if you wanted to, if you have watercolor pencils, you could use those to work with this, which I have those somewhere. I should get them out and try it and see how it works. See if I would like that more. I didn't like that, and now I gotta work with it. Okay. On to the other petals. Definitely put too much water down on this one, so I'm just gonna dab it a little bit. Too harsh right here, so I'm gonna lighten it up a little. think I might add some shadows in here on this by adding, this is a mixture of like a gray and some purple. Even the flower has some shading, and you could go into it a lot, or just leave it subtle. I'm just adding some very, very light shadows here. There's shadows under these leaves here. But I don't want to muddy it up, so I'm just gonna just put the tiniest hints. Okay, I'm gonna dry this out real quick. So I really feel like this would look fun with some really bold ink to it. So I'm going to give this a go. I hope I don't ruin it. I have this brush liner pen. It's a felt tip. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Anyway, I'm going to go into it with this liner, trying to be very loose with it, and vary the line widths. Like, let's start with these buds over here, just kind of as a warm-up. Yikes. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. I'm not gonna think about it too much. Yikes. See, I am the queen of accidentally touching with my hand. Don't do this. Oh, it's such a horrible habit, and I need to somehow fix that in my life. These guys are very delicate, so I'm trying to keep a light hand in here. Don't know if it worked. That's alright. I'm not mad about it. Okay, you know how I love spatters. I feel like this would look really pretty with like some pink spatters. So we're gonna do it. We are gonna do it. But I'm gonna make sure, I'm not happy with this, how this is covered there. Make sure it's really close so it doesn't ruin my other page. Okay. Get some of this pink. Add a little water here. I am going to take another brush. Now, sometimes people go like this. I actually like to do it with this brush on top and just tap. I think I'm going to add some black spatters. Is that weird? Down here? I don't know, but I'm going to try it. I have two different blacks here. This one is more of a brownish black, and this one is more as a blue tone. I like to blend them together a lot just to get this medium black, if there's such a thing. You can always get an old toothbrush to work with as usual. Like I have this bamboo one that I had. I dip it in a little bit of water first and then just go like this. Voila. And don't forget to sign. Now, after this is very, very dry, and I'm talking very, very dry, you can go through and erase some of these lines, but I'm going to hold off on doing that. So I hope this tutorial was fun. I hope it wasn't too boring. Please, any advice, I'm open to it. Thank you so much for being a patron, and once again, if you have any ideas or certain things that you would like to learn how to paint, please let me know. I would love to give that a try. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.